Hello, and welcome to this week's Movie Math, where, in all seriousness, leave Batman alone. Yes, I'm very happy for Aquaman's huge box office success. As I tweeted yesterday, an ocean of box office cash. And I'm especially pleased because it's in spite of so many haters. People tried to take this movie down, but it still floated to the top, really to the top, as you're about to see. But I see no reason to say that outgrossing each Batman movie individually means that orange is the new black, as James Wan himself tweeted this past week. It would be far more accurate and far more helpful to the DCEU, which always seems to be shadowed in negativity, or I guess shrouded is a better word. It's so annoying. But this is what he should have said, that the DC Trinity has now become a foursome. See? Positivity. Always asleep at the wheel, Warner Brothers PR office. You gotta manage this stuff. Even people's freaking tweets. I'd be like, dear James Wan, why did you do it to us? Why? Also, let's remember that Batman has consistently delivered hits for Warner Brothers over decades in multiple mediums. We have one hit Aquaman movie. Let's not put the fish before the Batmobile. As I've said before, I feel the success of Aquaman is less about Jason Momoa's Arthur Curry. Where are the abundance of memes and cosplayers? I mean, this hasn't even caught on like Wonder Woman level. I'm sure some of you are like, I care for Jason Momoa. It's not a movement. I think this is more about the evolution of the DCEU overall, especially behind the camera. As in, I'm more interested in what James Wan does next, as I feel as the rest of Hollywood, rather than what Aquaman does next, or Jason Momoa or Amber Heard. And neither one of them has signed a deal yet, although it took Gal Gadot a little bit of time to get her momentum going as well. And I still don't think she's quite there. We'll see. I think right now still the biggest thing she has is another Wonder Woman movie and her Revlon contract. So thanks, James Wan, for putting a friendly fire negative spin on this headline, which again could have been positive. Aquaman is now Warner Brothers' highest grossing DC movie of all time and their second highest grossing film of all time, period. That is pretty impressive. Plus, it'll likely match Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad domestically, which was also very important. You don't want to make it look like it's only an overseas hit. The takeaway has become James Wan, super strong overseas, as well as domestically. So again, who benefited from this? James Wan. Deservedly so, I feel. Okay, so now it's time to annoy Glass fans. As Calvin and Hobbes said, the best way to deal with a bad mood is to spread it around. All right, so now it's your turn. All right, so Glass didn't have a superhero-sized opening. No, it was too smart for that. Most people are Philistines and don't get how amazing it is. Well, they continue to not get Glass, most audiences, as it sure had a superhero-sized second weekend drop, falling 53%, about 20% more than Split's impressive second weekend hold 2 years ago. These paths are finally diverting in the Hollywood box office woods. Although still, Glass and Split are neck and neck for 2 weeks in for their domestic totals, as Glass benefited from having the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday in the mix. Split had opened the weekend after in 2017. Now, Split eventually got to 138 domestic and 278 worldwide, thanks to very strong holds consistently week to week. But with Glass already showing cracks and already playing everywhere it's currently set to open overseas, no word on a Chinese release date, it'll be tough for Glass to close that $100 million gap. Still, M. Night, and as I'm sure many of you M. Night apologists are typing right now, M. Night will still turn a profit on his self-funded movie, but it's unlikely, as I said last week. I mean, this was the chance to, if he had had a very strong hold here, then M. Night would have been the one who laughed last. Instead, I'll laugh again, because I think it's unlikely he'll be getting a big studio gig or budget anytime soon. But, he can't laugh, but M. Night can chuckle, because he has his upcoming Apple TV series already in the works to likely sucker us again. I'll check it out. I can't help it. I mean, sometimes he's good, and he does have good setups. See? Always sign your next deal before your current project actually releases. It's a tried and true Hollywood strategy. Apple's probably like, nuts, we probably could have gotten him for less money. And speaking of less money, we're going to talk about that right now. Because as for the rest of the top 10 this weekend, it was split into haves and have-nots, with the new releases faring the worst. With so many streaming options these days, soon from M. Night, right? People need a compelling reason to head out to and pay for a movie. And neither The Kid Who Would Be King or Serenity offered such enticement. Not too surprising for the UK family flick, which had little star power, and also considering audiences haven't been into King Arthur, or Robin Hood for that matter, for quite some time now. But really, it's also really understandable for McConaughey and Anne Hathaway, who've consistently been struggling at the box office over the past few years. If you're gonna make small movies, they have to get amazing reviews and awards consideration, or else they just bring down your box office numbers and likely your asking price. Although Anne Hathaway is booking so much work. I don't know how she's doing it. Maybe off of the strength of Ocean's 8, because she was very good there, and I think one of the most enjoyable elements in the movie. It's crazy. Sandra Bullock's doing a bunch of Netflix stuff, whereas Anne Hathaway is booking big screen gig after big screen gig. And I'm kind of excited about some of them. I think Anne Hathaway might be turning things around. So maybe Serenity is just like, goodbye, hateful, bad career Anne Hathaway, and hello back to superstar Anne Hathaway, that for some reason she didn't want to be for a while. But since it didn't work out who she wanted to be, I'm glad she's smart enough to head back. But you know who's in a position to ask for more money in their negotiations? Why, that's Kevin Hart and the Spider-Verse team. Both movies demonstrated amazing holds over the weekend, both falling less than 20%. That's so difficult. How often do we see holds in the teens? Especially because these movies have both, especially Spider-Verse, been playing for quite some time. Now, to be fair, both movies are still a bit low when it comes to their domestic totals. But I think that these holds, and which are obviously due to word of mouth and people becoming more and more interested in the property, I think this signals strong ancillary business down the road. For those of you who don't know the ancillary term, it means like streaming, hotels, movie theater, airplanes, watching on the airplane, everywhere you can see a movie outside of the theater. And so I think that both those films will do quite well there, particularly Spider-Verse after that Oscar win. Fingers crossed! Did you see the Spidey Oscar that I think it was either Phil Lord or Chris Miller tweeted over the past few days? I hope they get it. Now, speaking of the Oscars, the only Green Book got a real surge from the Oscar nominations that were announced last week. Yes, despite opening back in November, both Universal with Green Book and Fox Searchlight with The Favorite played chicken with the Oscar nominations and decided to wait until they came out to go wide. And they were rewarded not only with a plethora of Oscar noms, but also a surge in their box office. But only Green Book managed to pop back up into the top 10. And Green Book, bad luck for Bohemian Rhapsody with the renewed focus this past week on Bryan Singer's horrific Hollywood past. I think that means that it's likely now down to Green Book and Roma for the Best Picture win. Finally, while it suffered a large drop, Dragon Ball Super Brawly can hold its super coiffed head high as it still managed to remain in the top 10 after its impressive debut last weekend. As for this coming weekend, it's the Super Bowl, aka Trailer Palooza, and only Sony's Miss Bala will try to counter-program the big game. Considering Glass is shattering at the box office only its second weekend, the two movies will be in a tight race for the #1 spot. So that's this week's Movie Math. Thanks for going over the box office with me. I'm curious to hear your own thoughts down below, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.